Some buildings are abandoned because they're old. Others are abandoned because people are afraid to return. Hidden in the center of Blackwood City stands St. Mary's Hospital. Closed for more than 20 years, every floor has been searched, except one. According to local legend, if the elevator ever stops at floor 13, you must never leave the cabin, because something else will enter. Ryan Carter had built his career exploring haunted places. Millions watched him because he never faked evidence. Tonight, his live camera was pointed at the most dangerous location he'd ever entered. He smiled at the lens. Let's prove this legend is fake. Those would become the last normal words anyone would hear from him. At the end of the corridor stood an elevator. Impossible. The hospital had no electricity. Yet the floor indicator glowed with a faint red light. Ryan pressed the call button. The doors opened immediately, as if someone had been waiting inside. Ryan stepped inside and pressed floor 12. The doors closed. The elevator began climbing. Floors 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then another number appeared. 13. Ryan froze. The building blueprint showed only 12 floors. The elevator stopped. The doors slid open. Outside was complete darkness. No hallway, no walls, only endless black emptiness. Ryan refused to step out. Then he heard footsteps, slowly walking toward the elevator from somewhere inside the darkness. 1, 2, 3. A pale hand appeared around the edge of the doorway. Ryan stood frozen inside the elevator. Beyond the open doors was no hospital corridor, only endless darkness. Then, slowly, a narrow hallway began to appear, as if the building itself was creating a path for him. Every light flickered to life one by one. At the end of the corridor stood a little girl in a white hospital gown, staring directly at him. Ryan followed the hallway and discovered an old security room. Dust covered every monitor except one. It was still working. The screen showed Ryan standing inside the elevator. But the recording was dated October 17th, 1998. That was impossible. Ryan wasn't even born when the footage was recorded. Scattered across the floor were patient files. Every missing person from the hospital had one thing in common. Their final recorded location was Elevator 13. Ryan opened the last file. Inside was a photograph taken moments before a patient disappeared. In the background stood Ryan himself. Ryan ran back toward the elevator. As he passed a broken mirror, he caught his reflection, but it didn't stop running. The reflection stood still, smiling. Then it slowly raised one hand and pointed behind him. Ryan turned around. The little girl was gone. Ryan reached the elevator and slammed the close button again and again. The doors refused to move then. Tiny footprints appeared across the dusty floor, one after another. Walking toward him, a child's laughter echoed through the hallway. Finally, the elevator doors began to before they... Walking toward him, a child's laughter echoed through the hallway. Finally, the elevator doors began to close shut completely. The elevator doors trembled under the grip of the pale hands. Ryan pushed with all his strength then. The hands suddenly let go. The doors slid shut. Relief lasted only a second. When Ryan turned around, he wasn't alone anymore. The little girl was standing inside the elevator, smiling. The girl whispered, "This isn't the 13th floor. It's the place where forgotten souls wait." Suddenly, the elevator walls dissolved. Ryan found himself standing inside the old hospital exactly as it looked decades ago. Doctors and patients walked past him, but nobody could see him. Ryan finally saw the truth. The little girl wasn't the monster. Deep beneath the hospital stood the elevator keeper, a towering shadow that fed on fear. Every person who entered elevator 13 became trapped inside its endless nightmare. The little girl reached for Ryan's hand. "One of us must stay," she whispered. Ryan looked at the open elevator. Freedom was only a few steps away, behind him. Thousands of trapped voices cried for help. He had to choose. The next morning, police found Ryan unconscious outside the abandoned hospital. He couldn't remember anything. As the ambulance drove away, a nurse smiled at him through the rearview mirror. It was the little girl, now wearing a nurse's uniform.